Hello, my name is Ridley and I was a teacher in London. Today I'm going to tell you a story about a man named Sharma and his sheep. This story is important because whilst we have the internet to give us lots of information and to help us to learn, we sometimes struggle to think sensibly about what we read or to be kind to people who are different to us. The story of Sharma warns us to be alert to people who try to convince us of things that are dangerous or just don't make sense. He reminds us to think carefully about what we hear, read, and say. There was once a man named Sharma who thought himself to be very strong and clever. Sharma planned to take a sheep and 2 bags of special firewood to the king one day. The king will be so pleased with what I can offer him, Sharma thought proudly to himself. Though the day was clear, Sharma didn't see 3 crooks that were hidden in the bushes. The hungry leader of the crooks whispered to his partners, "God has finally sent a man with some firewood and a whole sheep for us to eat." The crooks knew that Sharma was smart and strong. They knew that they needed to do more than just hurt him in order to get what they wanted. "We will need to get him to give us the sheep without realizing," the leader said. They began to plot. The first crook ran alongside him and called out, "Hey, why are you carrying that dog to the king? Can't you see that it's dirty and you've got it on your shoulders?" Sharma laughed and replied, "It's a sheep, can't you see? It doesn't look like a dog at all." The crook replied, "Okay, if you think it's not a dog and you think it's a sheep, please carry on." And with that, the crook slunk off into the shadows with a grin upon his face. Sharma thought to himself how some people weren't as clever as he was. He had hardly walked on when a second crook stopped him in his tracks. The crook said, "Do you know that you're carrying a dog on your shoulders? No matter how strong or smart you think you are, if you carry animals like that, it's not good for you." Sharma replied, "It isn't a dog, it's a—" "If you think it's a sheep," interrupted the second crook, "and I think it's a dog, who really knows what's true?" And with that, the crook ran off. How strange, Sharma thought. He looked to his right and then his left, and he saw the black trotters of a sheep that were beginning to look like paws. Shaking his head, Sharma carried on. Before long, the third crook approached him. "Excuse me, sir, you're carrying a dog on your shoulders. It looks really odd, and if I were you, I would leave it here with me," said the third crook. Even though Sharma was usually calm and clever, 3 different people telling him he wasn't carrying a sheep was very convincing, especially when he was tired from all of the walking. He lowered the animal to the ground to check for himself. As Sharma turned his back to tell off the third crook, the remaining 2 crooks grabbed his belongings and ran off into the distance. Sharma realized that he should have ignored the lies that the men had told him, because a lie, spoken repeatedly, will eventually feel like it's true.